is this something that do I have to get him to change about this thing? Mm-hmm. But my delivery, if it's something that I do need him to change in, my delivery is going to matter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Welcome, my name is Jessica Lewis. I'm the founder of Rise Up Queens, where I help women step into the freedom that Christ died for. Here on this channel, you will find many topics on physical intimacy, porn and working through that in your marriage, communication, triggers, and so much more. I hope you dive in with me and subscribe and create the best marriage you possibly can with your spouse right now.
So today in this video, we're going to talk about things that might not be working in your marriage. I have 3 of our beautiful Rise Up Queens coaches here, and they have made significant shifts. They had some dysfunctional things that weren't working in their marriage. And they're going to talk through those things that weren't working and what they do about it now, how they've shifted it. And by them shifting, not necessarily their husband shifting, they have radically transformed their relationships and their marriage. Who'd like to kick us off? Does anyone? I mean, I know I see you as all perfect. And maybe before, what? Please don't.
Please don't.
What?
Still a work in progress. But one of the things that I realized is I carried a lot of judgment towards my husband and just feeling like, gosh, everything he was doing, whether it be spiritually or business-wise or physically, I would be critical of. And a lot of it wasn't even out loud. I didn't even think that, I wasn't even voicing that, but I realized that he felt it. Mm-hmm. So whether or not I was actually saying it or doing it in action, the energy that I felt behind my judgment was absolutely coming out. And so I realized that I needed to work on myself. I needed to look within my own heart and humble myself, because there was plenty of things that I was doing wrong or obviously ineffective in our marriage. But man, it was keeping me stuck because all I could see was his stuff rather than my own.
So you have your lens focused on the out, right? It's so easy to have if they would just do this, right? And they would do that, but I miss the opportunity of God actually working in me, mm-hmm. right? I mean, countless couples that I meet, they're so focused. If they would just change, and it continues to recur. And so you shifted it by turning inward, okay, what's my part in this, mm-hmm. right? How might I be playing a role in this? Or how does God want to grow me, really?
Yeah. What comes up for me, when you're saying all that, is I used to think, man, if Brent would just listen to me, if he would just change, my life would be so much better. Our family's life would be so much better. And I got to the point where it was there is my responsibility. And now, for me, when I'm thinking those thoughts, because they do come up still, mm-hmm. I am okay, this is how I want him to change. Okay, how do I need to show up? How do I need to show up for him to bring this change for both of us? What do I need to do?
Yeah.
And then just sit in prayer with that. Lord, help me see this in my husband and help bring that change in me.
Yeah. Because you might be aware of some needs you want. And let's say it's your husband not putting, Skylar is notorious for, this is the laundry basket and his shirt goes right here. Right. And so I could be Skylar, why can't you mm-hmm. put your clothes on the laundry? Blah, blah, right? Or I could say, hey, I'd love it if they went in there. Or I could just drop it. Is this something that, do I have to get him to change about this thing? Mm-hmm. But my delivery, if it's something that I do need him to change in, my delivery is going to matter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I learned that there were so many things I just needed to drop.
It's not all that, the shirt is so close.
This is not high stakes. I'm going to be okay.
Everything used to be well, I mean, I'm still recovering from that. So there are even little things, one time Skylar had agreed that if he was going to fart, he was going to let me know. And he didn't. And I just lost it. I was having a bad day. I just lost it. And I got to realize, Jessica, it was a fart. Can you, yes, and he said he was going to tell you, and he didn't. What if it just, they slip out. We all know that. You know what I mean?
True.
The check-in.
Yeah.
I think for me, I always thought similar, right? If he would just change, or if he would just stop looking at porn, or if he would just do this, that our marriage would be better, our family would be better. There wouldn't be so much chaos. Mm. And just going through Rise Up Queens and going through deeper and the mastermind, I began to change my lens and be able to see okay, even if he still did this, what do I need? And so just being able to have the tools and the support to see what I needed in our marriage, and it wasn't just about him, but how could I show up in love for him and not anger and resentment and bitterness.
Yeah, because when we do something wrong, if someone comes at us with anger, resentment, and bitterness, I just go into deeper shame. I'm like, I knew it, right?
Yeah.
Versus it's truly the love of the Lord. Like, how do we model loving like Jesus? And it's the greatest opportunity in marriage, because we are married to imperfect people that are going to make mistakes. And Skylar's mistakes are different than my mistakes. His mistakes might be more centered around lust, right? And that arena of things. And somehow I made his mistakes different than my mistakes, which would be anger and revenge and manipulation, right? And they're not so different. They're both sin. And so how do we be in relationship with imperfect people? So if you haven't been to Rise Up Queens, that is some of the stuff we will journey through and work through. Because at the end of the day, in our lives, like, our lives are so short, right? We have so much time. And before me going on this journey, I lived in stress, worry, disconnection, loneliness all the time. And somehow it came to me that Skylar modeled it for me. He's never stressed. He's happy. He's joyful. And I was like, man, like, how do I do that? And I thought it was outside of me. And it's not. It is inside of me, and it's in the way that I process and deal with things, and that's the exact stuff we go through in events. So I hope to see you soon.